Welcome to the ELL Classroom Podcast. The purpose of this podcast is a professional development tool for teachers in the United States who have non-native English speakers in their classroom.
I'm Jennifer Dunn.
And I'm Michelle Klepper. Our topic for today is, who are ELL students?
ELL is an abbreviation for English Language Learner. An English language learner is any student or person that learns another language before learning English. There are several other abbreviations for a person you might describe as ELL. For example, ESL, ESOL are a couple of the other abbreviations that are used.
So there are also three types of ELL students or ESL students and how we classify them. NEP is non-English proficient. LEP means limited English proficient, and FEP is fluent English proficient. Abbreviations such as these are commonly used, so we'll be sure to define what these abbreviations mean.
So let's talk a little bit about what each of these types of students would look like in your classroom. If you have a NEP student in your classroom, they're going to be very quiet, especially at the beginning of their time in your class. They'll be looking for others and at others to see how they're answering questions and the types of tasks that they're doing in your classroom, how to function in your classroom, where it's okay to be and where it's not okay to be. You might see some copying from other students when they're in NEP level. And they also might be looking for translators, someone that speaks their first language that they can look to for help and assistance. A newcomer class for a NEP student focuses a lot on English development, but it does not leave the content behind. It's a dual purpose class, if you will. A great way for you to work with NEP students in your class is to put them at the front of the classroom, so that if they have questions or you see that they're not in the area or the page or the assignment that they need to be, you can direct them to exactly where they need to be. It's also great for them because if they're too shy to raise their hand and ask a question, you can check in with them really quickly and make sure that they find where they need to be and perform the task. Another great strategy or tool you might use with a NEP student in your class is a translation dictionary, which will allow them to look up key words in your class to help them understand what's going on.
One thing we want to note is that a NEP student, a non-English proficient student, can be a student who knows 0 words in English or 0 vocabulary. They could also be students that do know some English, but maybe can't carry a conversation. And so there is a wide variety of NEP students. You could have ones that are new to the country or new to English, or you could have ones that have some experience and know a few vocabulary words.
The next group of ELL students is LEP, which is the limited English proficient students. This is the broadest range of students. At the lower level of LEP, they will look very similar to a NEP student, where they might struggle having a conversation or reading or writing. At the other end of the LEP level, they're almost to a fluent level, and they can hold a conversation with you and they can write papers. You might notice some of their grammar in the writing. They're struggling with verb tenses, or they're struggling with articles, and their parts of speech just aren't quite on yet. What you'll also find with a LEP student is you find holes in their learning, in their English learning. So maybe they went to school in their native country for 5 years, but when they transitioned over to American schools, maybe they focused so much on learning the English language that they didn't keep the content information up. They didn't keep working on the content information. So you'll find gaps in their learning. You'll find holes. You also might find a student who, though they're in the 7th grade, may have only been in schools for 3 or 4 years. And so when you find a LEP student and they start, I call it clunking, they start struggling with something or not understanding what you're talking about, well, a great strategy is to look and see, is it the English that they're struggling with, or is it the content that they're struggling with? Sometimes when you're teaching a LEP student, you need to be filling in both pieces of information. The last group of students that we have are the FEP, or the fluent English proficient. And when these students reach a FEP level, they are very close to approaching fluency. In order for them to transition out of an ELL program, they need to be scoring on CSAP or NWA, CELA, whatever district or state indicators you have that they're approaching grade level fluency. There might be some vocabulary that they're still struggling with, but for the most part, these students will perform to grade level, just like their peers, their native English-speaking peers would.
This has been a brief overview of the 3 major categories of an ELL student. Throughout the year, we will be delving deeper into topics that directly apply to your classroom. If you have questions regarding our topic today or a topic you are interested in, please visit our website at www.ellclassroom.com and send us an email or post a comment. Thanks and have a lovely day.